Welcome to 70th Year's 17th Muppets, More Muppets Please, a Muppet fan podcast presented by toughpigs.com. This is the podcast where we celebrate the Muppets' 17th anniversary with a series of spotlights on our favorite Muppet characters, from fan favorites to the most obscure. I am this week's host, Katie Lynn, and the Muppets of the week are Tina and Gerald Teeth, performed by Stephanie D'Abruzzo and David Bizzarro respectively, and designed by Lauren Attanello, making their world debut in 2023 on the Disney Plus original Muppets Mayhem. Joining me today to chat about Chompers is a man with a fantastic set of pearly whites, Joe Hennis.
Hello. I am happy to be here. So are my teeth.
Awesome. Well, so I invited you here to talk about the teeths for various reasons. The first of them being that you had the special honor of interviewing Stephanie D'Abruzzo and David Bizzarro about Tina and Gerald Teeth way back in 2023
Oh, the
on
olden times.
the olden times of 3 years ago. So on the podcast Muppets Mayhem Backstage Pass. So do you remember anything about recording that? Anything special about the characters? Anything they said you'd want to share again, I guess?
The thing that I remember most about that podcast, now that it's been 3 years, and I remember so little about what I did like last week, let alone 3 years ago, really is just the joy of getting to talk to those puppeteers and giving them an opportunity to like dive into these characters that they got to perform for like 2 episodes. And folks like Stephanie and David, I think specifically Stephanie, they put so much thought into those characters and letting them kind of just like talk about like why do you think that Tina Teeth has kind of a Southern Belle accent, and what is the backstory, like how did they get into dentistry, and like the stuff that doesn't really show up on camera. So that stuff I remember really fondly. As for anything specific about the characters, I don't remember anything now. Did you said that you listened to it? Did you learn anything that I had forgotten already?
I did re-listen to it, and they did talk a lot about how they came to the accents that they chose for the characters. There was a lot about everyone was praising the Molar Express as their bus
Yeah, that's good
choice
stuff.
before it became the Mayhem bus. But yeah, you're right. It was just a lovely venue for the puppeteers to talk about character building and how they came to those parts, because they had to audition for them without really knowing too much more about them other than what was on paper. And so I agree with you. Like you just kind of set them up and let them go, and they do what they do best, and we're entertaining. This is why we love the Muppets and the Muppet performers. So there are lots of different ways that we could start this conversation about Tina and Gerald Teeth. Like, first of all, they are one of the only examples of like a nuclear family in all of Muppetdom.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, if we're not talking about, Sesame Street, where they've kind of built those things up to talk about whatever they need to, but in like actual Muppet show Muppetdom, you've got uncles, you've got, single moms, but this is like trying to think of really any other example of mom,
Yeah.
a dad, a
I mean, we get a
child.
little bit of that in like storybooks, which I don't think are really canon. Like, there's like Muppet Teens, not Muppet Teens. It's like the step up from Muppet Babies. There were some
Hmm.
books, and it was like Fozzie and both of his parents are there, and it's like, okay, but is that canon? I don't know. But you're right. I'm struggling to think of anyone off the top of that. I'm sure we're gonna get people in the comments that are like, actually, you're forgetting Sweetums' parents as seen in episode 2705. But yeah, it's rare.
Yeah. So, but we're not going to talk about that today. And we're not going to talk about, the generational trauma that was set up in that episode. We're not going to talk about even like Louisiana accents. We instead are here to talk about one thing you said on that podcast. We're going to talk about the moment when Dr. Teeth is inspecting Floyd's mouth, and he says that the problem with his teeth is he doesn't have any. You respond to that moment by saying that some Muppets got them, some don't. And that's the crux of this whole discussion.
I'm so glad I could set that domino in effect here.
So, what's the deal with Muppet teeth, Joe? Why have we become so fascinated by them?
Wonderful question. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about some have them, some don't. I I think I've covered all Muppets with that statement. I think I don't.
There's
I'm
no in
struggling to
between.
think of a Muppet that fits under neither category of has teeth or does not have teeth.
Actually, there's that whole Muppet wiki page. Muppets who grow teeth and tongues. So, like, I
Yes,
guess technically they can have both.
they could. Yes, it's a Venn diagram. There's Muppets that have teeth, Muppets that don't have teeth, and Muppets that sometimes have teeth.
There we go.
There's something weird about Muppets with teeth. There's certain Muppets, and we could just talk about the Muppet Show family of characters for a second, but like
Sure.
there's certain Muppets that, they show up fully formed with teeth, like Dr. Teeth. And it's like, yeah, don't think twice about it. That's that guy
Hmm.
with teeth. And then there's some that don't have teeth, and we never think twice. Floyd has no teeth. It didn't occur to me until that moment in this episode where Dr. Teeth mentions that he has no teeth. And it's like, oh right. Like he doesn't have teeth. Like you look at his mouth, there's nothing there. Sometimes it feels very natural, and sometimes it feels very unnatural. There are other characters that'll show up and they've got like a bright row of teeth, maybe even like a one-off character, and you're like, there's something weird about that, something unsettling. Maybe it's supposed to be unsettling, but like, I don't know why. I don't know like what's the reason that they can fall into those categories of like settling versus unsettling. That's kind of what I'm fascinated by.
Definitely. This is something we have been talking about since at least last spring, because we were talking about it when we went to visit the Sesame set.
Yeah.
And we've been putting together this list. We've been trying to write an article. We've got like 90% of an article written about Muppet teeth at this point. But you know what? Instead, this podcast seems like the perfect opportunity to unpack exactly what our questions are. In theory, it feels like Muppet teeth should be like eyebrows or mustaches. That they add character and interest to just like the blank canvas that is a Muppet. But there's something about teeth specifically, like you said, that can be very off-putting. While, you could have a long nose or you've got Bill's ears, and it almost goes uncommented upon. Like we've obviously caught on to Bill's ears, and we actually think those are great. It's not weird that he has ears. It's actually fun. So, when are teeth okay? When are they very much not okay?
I'm gonna okay, so I'm just thinking of this in the moment, so I have done zero research, but there are characters who they're built as whatnots or kind of other patterns of puppets, and then teeth are put into their mouths. And I wonder if there's something about like the teeth don't really fit. Like the mouth is not designed around the teeth. Dr. Teeth, his that character is designed around the teeth. It's part
Mhm.
of his character. And when you've got someone who the teeth are just kind of slammed in, they like maybe the mouth doesn't close all the way, or maybe it's like they kind of don't fit into the groove of the lower jaw, or vice versa, depending on where the teeth are. So there's an unnaturalness to it that kind of I don't know, almost adds to the uncanny valleyness of a character. I don't know. What do you think about that? Is that a valid theory?
It is one theory, and it's quite possible. It definitely explains some of it. So like there are pictures we've scoured Muppet Wiki at this point looking for all the different teeth, and there are pictures of Kermit with teeth. He has a full set of like humanoid dentures, and that looks very wrong.
Right. That's from Sesame Street. That's from the toothbrush. Grover's the toothbrush salesman, I think.
Yes, I believe
Yeah.
so. But then there's the episode of The Muppet Show where he's got fangs.
Right.
Those look fine.
Yeah, that also is weird because they're like way up inside of his mouth, like
Yeah.
not where teeth normally go. But Kermit also like in the moment in the Vincent Price episode where he's got those vampire fangs.
Mhm.
We can all picture that the image of it because his mouth is wide open. He is showing off those fangs. And then even when he talks like, "Oh, you know like this?" Like his mouth is like staying open for it so he could show him off. And I think it's like Jim found the one position where it looks cool. And then it's like, well, then once you really get into it and Kermit has to like talk, then I think it kind of loses a little bit, or you could really see the fakeness of it because the teeth kind of have to fold back to make it work. Whereas in the Sesame Street sketch with the row of teeth, like again, his mouth has to stay open because he has to show the teeth. And also, like it's in an unnatural pattern. Like his mouth doesn't curve in that way; kind of comes to a point a little bit. Also, like they're human teeth. This isn't like a row of like flat white veneers that we see with a lot of other characters. It's like real. It's like my teeth. Like it's awful. So there's an unnaturalness in the idea of it being too real, maybe with that one.
They are very real. I mean, but are they any less real than, say, Dr. Teeth's or Crazy Harry has humanoid teeth?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think part of it is that I don't know if veneer is even the right word for it, but like where they're like flat, square, they look like chiclets.
Yeah.
Like they're square teeth. It's like Ben Affleck in what's the one Armageddon? It's like Ben Affleck in Armageddon. But yeah, so Doctor Teeth has those flat teeth. Crazy Harry has those flat teeth. They don't look like human, like molars and bicuspids. And actually, I'm struggling to think of if any of the Muppets really do have teeth like that. I think they like it's either the flat white or their fangs. You know, it's like frazzle teeth.
Mm-hmm. That's a good question. So I'm trying to think of everything that we pull. So like Rodeo Rosie has very
Yeah.
off-putting teeth,
Yep.
but they're not fully formed human teeth. They are also the rectangular.
Yeah. I'm looking at our list. You and I made this long list of
We
characters
sure did.
who have teeth, and I'm looking at them now because like yeah, you've got like Janice who has the flat teeth, and you've got Animal who's got the fang teeth, and you've got Pepe who has got one little tooth. You know, it's like, but I'm not seeing anyone who's standing out. Even like when they add teeth to a character who doesn't normally, like you and I talked about Fozzie Bear as Gauzy Bear in
Hmm.
Muppets Haunted Mansion, and like they gave him like that one row of like one big old tooth, and it's awful.
And you can see, so I'm looking at a picture of it right now, and you can see the differentiation between all of them because there's a part where he's like leaned back and you can see underneath the palate and just the formation of every single tooth. And that is very off-putting, which kind of makes sense in the context of a scary haunted mansion style special, I guess.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's true. I'm looking at that picture that you're noticing now. I did not remember that accurately. It does look like real teeth, actually. I'll
Mhm.
go back on that. Gauzy Bear looks like real teeth. And even like I'm looking at this picture of convincing John, and he's got like six teeth,
Yeah.
and there's six individual teeth, and that's it. And they're almost it's almost too real, but I don't find his as disturbing, and maybe that's because it's kind of baked into his character. I don't know.
Well, that's something we can explore more as well because so Fraggles especially being exceptional when they have teeth. Whereas the Muppets and Sesame have some monsters who are going to have your fangs and your pointy teeth. The Fraggles almost never have teeth. There's
Hmm.
like three or four options, one of which
Right.
being convincing John. And because he's a fast talker, salesman type, it really does sort of fit with his character that he should have teeth.
Yeah. True. And that goes with Barry Blueberry as well. Like he is kind of that fast talker.
Yes, and his teeth are more like a solid white line across the top, I think.
And that feels like deliberately veneers, right? Like that feels
Yes.
like he got those teeth done because he's going to be on TV.
Whatever equivalent TV that Fraggles
Right.
have.
Yes, exactly.
But then you've got Choo Choo.
Choo choo.
Choo Choo Fraggle appears in literally one episode, and yet, speaking of spittin' chiclets,
It's okay. So here's the thing about Choo Choo. Okay, so I know nobody knows who Choo Choo is except for like three Fraggle fanatics out there. Hi, Beth. Picture like a purple Fraggle, and there's like five or six teeth on the top row, but they're big cubes, and they're all kind of point like slightly angled outward, like individually. So they're kind of almost like I'm picturing in a cartoon where a character gets like hit on the head and their teeth pop out like piano keys.
yes, I have that visualization.
Yes. And then one tooth right in the front is missing. So you've got a gap there. And then just to make it that much worse, he's got this long pink tongue that's sticking out like a dog. I also want to point out because okay, so I want to say that Choo Choo Fraggle is that is what got you and me talking about Muppet Teeth to begin with, because
Yes.
we were like, who is this guy? What's going on? And then on top of that, we discovered in Fraggle Rock Back to the Rock the fraggliest Fraggle.
I think that is his canonical name.
That is his canonical name. It's in the credits. And we just like spotted this guy in the background of an episode, and he's got what looks like one huge tooth. And like it's from jaw to jaw. It's like one flat boom. It's a tooth. And we're like, why would you do that for a background character that's supposed to like kind of fade into the background a little bit? Why would you do something so I don't know, noticeable? And I ended up interviewing John Tartaglia for the Fraggle Talk Back to the Rock podcast. And I noticed that there was a credit for Fraggliest Fraggle. And I was like, who is that guy? And he's like, oh, it's the one with the tooth. And it's, I guess, supposed to be like the epitome of what a Fraggle is. Like the Fraggles have fun. This guy has way loads of fun. The Fraggles like to sing. He loves to sing, whatever. And I don't know how that equates to having a giant tooth, but it definitely caught our attention.
It's true. And so he and Barry Blueberry, I think, are the only two in the new series that have teeth that we've noticed anyway.
I
So
think you're right.
like
Yeah.
it's not as if all of a sudden, all the new characters, Icy Joe and everybody, they all have teeth now. Like that's the next evolution of Fraggle is teeth. Um Back to teeth in general, I guess. But like is there something about perhaps humanoid Muppets versus animal Muppets and the type
Mm.
of teeth that they have that maybe unlocks this, why it's off-putting or not off-putting?
Yeah, that's a good question because, I think, in just thinking about who has teeth, we're thinking about people like Guy Smiley. You mentioned Rodeo Rosie and
Guy
Forgetful
Smiley does
Jones.
not have teeth, Joe.
Wait, he doesn't have teeth? Oh, you're right. He doesn't have teeth. What's wrong with me? I'm thinking about his smile. He doesn't
Yeah,
have teeth.
his name's Smiley. Well, I have that written down as like, are there any characters who we think should have teeth who do not? And Guy Smiley is like at the top of my list because his name's Guy Smiley.
You're right.
He is a presenter, a game show host. You'd think he'd have teeth. He has no teeth.
Wait, well, what's the name of the? Oh God, I'm gonna lose my
Your Muppet
my
cred.
Muppet fan license. Who's the other game show host? What's his name? Oh no, hang on, I'm looking this up.
Friendly, Sunny Friendly
Sunny Friendly. Does Sunny Friendly have teeth?
to the
We're
Muppet
looking this
Wiki.
up. Googling him quick. Click, click, click. I'm typing. Yes, Sunny Friendly has teeth.
Okay.
Sunny Friendly, and again, like game show host. I think we're thinking of like the Pat Sajak type, and like he's
Yes.
got like a row of teeth. That makes sense. That makes sense to me. You're right. Guy Smiley doesn't have teeth. He should have teeth. Well, in any case, back to your original question about these humanoid characters and their teeth, because look, we think of humans having teeth. So that makes sense. The original Muppet Sesame Monsters, with the exception of like Frazzle and like the original Cookie Monster, which kind of predates Sesame Street, they even the monsters don't have teeth. So we end up with like I guess a lot of the animals, like maybe like stuff like horses and I don't know what else would even have teeth. Yeah, like we kind of like set this precedent that Sesame Street monsters and animals don't really have teeth, and so it kind of leaves it to the humans to take up the teeth reins. What am I talking about?
Teeth raids. Well, Paul Revere has teeth.
Paul Revere has teeth. He's got big old teeth.
Is that our next t-shirt design? Bill has ears. Paul Revere has teeth.
Has big old teeth.
He also has the big splayed out teeth.
The he has the piano keys
Yes.
spitting out of his mouth teeth.
But like, dogs have teeth and bears have teeth. So is it something mechanical? Do they get in the way when they're puppeteering? And so it feels
I have to
weird.
assume so. I have to assume so, especially like again, we're talking about, basically dressing up whatnots and AMs as new characters. And so putting those teeth in their mouth, I think, it's like you're risking, will that hinder the performance? Will they fall out? Will they, does that even change the way that they speak? Do they have to talk like they have big teeth now? You know? And I don't know. If it doesn't serve the story, then maybe not. Also, here's the other thing. We're talking about how creepy teeth can be, and I think anything that you add to a Sesame Street character specifically to potentially add to the creepiness, maybe just don't do it. Maybe just like let the dog be a cute little dog and not a dog that might bite you.
That is true. I mean, I think they had less compunction about this when the Henson Workshop was in charge of it, just because, you'd end up with Harvey knee slappers and the rodeo Rosies.
And here's the thing about like Harvey Knee Slapper. Can we just talk about him for a second?
Always, always joke.
Already, like on the page, he is like he's a troublemaker. He's pulling pranks on people for no reason. Like you see this guy coming down the street, you're like, I'm out of here. He's gonna slap the letter J on me, and it's gonna be some stupid pun, and then he's gonna scream in my ear. I do not want to be around this guy. And then on top of that, you've got like Frank Oz's performance, which is so over the top and so loud and brash with that high pitched laugh. But okay, that's just who he is. Then you look at this guy, and he's got a full row of upper teeth, all the way jaw to jaw. He's got the googly eyes, one of the few characters outside of Cookie Monster and his family that have googly eyes. He's got that mess of Harpo hair
Hmm.
and a creepy little mustache.
It is a creepy little mustache. Oh my goodness.
I hate looking at him. It's awful. Everything about the way he looks is awful. And it fits the character. Like he is, I think he's supposed to be awful. At least in retrospect, he seems like, oh yeah, this guy is, again, you want to run from him when you see him coming for a number of reasons. Yeah, the teeth are not helping in that regard for sure.
Well, if anything, it made sense in that case because they wanted him to be a little unsettled. Well, everything about him is unsettling,
Yeah, exactly.
off-putting.
Yes.
So the teeth work in that circumstance.
Yes. Teeth with a function here.
Well, so are there other aspects to Muppet design that could be considered more repugnant than adding teeth? You, notably, have never been a fan of Muppet aging.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, that has more to do with Muppet mortality, though. An aging Muppet means that someday that Muppet is going to die. And I don't like that because the Muppets are forever,
They
you
could be
know.
like lobsters. They could just keep regenerating and regenerating their external shell. You never
Sure.
know.
Sure. I mean, I don't hate that. But at the same time, it's like, we've gone 70 years and, Kermit, well, he doesn't look the same as he did 70 years ago. We've gone with the last 50 plus years with these characters not aging at all. It's like I kind of think that like if suddenly, Fozzie had a gray streak in his hair, he doesn't really have hair, then you'd be like, oh shoot, like that's like, well, what's going to happen in another 50 years? Is he gonna, who knows? But no, I mean, this isn't, I don't say this for myself, but a lot of people hate Muppet feet. And I
Mm,
think that's the one that I think more people call out as like, oh, once we get to see them up at full body, we see their them walking, then it's like, no, I don't like that. In the same way that we're talking about some of these teeth things, Kermit has teeth now. Yeah, people don't like those feet.
yeah, I think anything that forces people to consider how the Muppets operate in real life. So
Yeah.
anytime you extend more than just upper body, or you think about what is actually under Miss Piggy's gloves, or are they hooves? Are they fingers?
Now, here's the thing. Talking about that stuff, I think is perfectly fine. I don't think most people go, "Oh my God, I hate thinking about her hands." It's not that. It's if she removed the gloves and we see what's under there,
Yes.
then, well, hang on. I didn't want to see that. And like, I don't know. And like you said, there's actually something to that idea of like, well, once we see how they are, how they actually function. And, I wonder about things like, we don't often see them doing normal things like eating, and of course, like a lot of that has to do with like, okay, they're puppets, they can't really eat, but like we don't see them like enjoying a meal, or like that. This sketch takes place over a breakfast. I mean, not that anyone wants to see a Muppet using the bathroom, but we don't even talk about the Muppets going to the bathroom. It's too real. People, we were just talking about, well, not just a while ago, we were talking about Miss Piggy saying "I have to pee" in Muppets from Space on the Moving Right Along podcast,
Hmm.
and most people don't like that joke because it's Miss Piggy talking about pee, and I get that, that's true, but also like no Muppet ever talks about using the restroom unless it's like Elmo's potty time, and then it's not as creepy, at least to diehard fans, when they get too real and we basically end up breaking the fourth wall and showing you what's below the frame. I was just rewatching Secrets of the Muppets, the Jim Henson Hour episode
Hmm.
yesterday. And the whole thing where like they look down and they see puppeteers and like we go like, oh my God, of course, like that's how it is. But like how cool, you get to see how it really works. But if they look down and it's a green screen and then we see, oh, now Gonzo's like standing on the ground and he has gravity to him, and there's something weird about that. And we can't necessarily put our fingers on why, but it doesn't look right. It doesn't feel right.
Okay. So I think we're coming to the conclusion that there is a limit to the reality that the Muppets exist in, and teeth are
Yeah,
kind of pushing on that reality.
right. They're biting down hard on that reality. But the truth of the matter is like the number of characters that have teeth, just straight up the ones that have teeth. I think that we could count on one hand, like forgetting the animals and the sharp teeth monster types. I think we can count on one hand like how many of them are like, yeah, it's fine. It's
Hmm.
like, yeah, we've got Dr. Teeth and his family. Great. You know,
Hmm.
like maybe you're cool with like Crazy Harry. Cool. He's supposed to be kind of a weird, chattery guy, like that makes sense for him. Didn't think twice about it. But like, I don't know, who am I forgetting? Like who else is out there that we're like totally fine with them having just like a row of teeth? It's not many.
Yeah, because like even the ones that I have put on the these are okay teeth side, most of them are monsters that have
Yeah.
fangs, and that looks fine because fangs are okay on monsters.
Right. They're supposed to be a little scary. We have Chip on this list. I can't picture Chip's teeth. I have to look at a picture of Chip. So Chip has a row of human teeth, not the one tooth veneer looking thing that some of these other characters have. And like they're all kind of at their own length or height, however you want to say it.
Mhm.
So they look like individual teeth. And because of the way that puppet is built, his I can't tell if it's the mouth, or I think it's the teeth are a little bit offset.
Mhm.
They're a little bit to his left. And I mean, he is a disturbing looking character. He's got the big egghead shape, and his eyes are wide open, and then you get the little pupils that blink.
And the
And
hair that doesn't quite cover most of
yeah,
his head.
true, yes. And but then you add this asymmetry to him, and I think it like subtly, without making you think about it, kind of adds to the disturbingness of just looking at him. And that's just the teeth. I think the teeth are the only really asymmetrical part of his look.
And yet it doesn't bother me in terms of the overall appearance, kind of like Harvey Knee Slapper, in
Yeah.
that it all sort of just fits with the vibe that he's going for, which is a little unsettling, a little off-putting.
So do you feel like the reason it works for you is because he's already supposed to be a little bit of an unsettling character?
Yes.
I mean, I'll buy it. Yeah.
You're gonna buy this theory. Yeah, like because
Yeah.
he's both in his performance and as his look, he kind of inspires that like, oh, I'm not sure what you're bringing to this moment, but I'm gonna take a step back and like consider it first. I'm not
Yeah.
just gonna like cozy up to you because oh, you're a fluffy Fozzie bear, and all of a sudden, if Fozzie Bear to reveal teeth, you'd be like, oh, okay, no, you're a real bear.
Yeah.
Uh,
Right. Should I run? Should I be running right now?
yes. Like he's not meant to lure you in and then scare you away. It is immediately like you're on your guard.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Right. But yeah, but this is like the IT guy. And it's like, oh, Jesus, like don't make eye contact with him if you don't have to.
Whereas we've learned, that it's the IT guys who are just like, I don't want to deal with these yahoos up
That's
in up
true.
in sales. They don't know what they're doing. Well, Joe, is this a dilemma that can be solved? Or is this a good dilemma to have? Is the ambivalent nature of Muppet teeth a good thing to deploy in certain circumstances? What
Yeah.
conclusion are
I
we coming to here?
I think that a dangerous trap that the Muppets could fall into, that I sometimes see the Sesame Street designs fall into, but less so with Muppets or Fraggle, is finding this complacency of how a character should look, and and you end up like designing characters that all feel like they're very much of that same breed, and you don't really deviate outside of it too much. And by giving us the option to have teeth, even if it doesn't look attractive or even if it doesn't look natural, I think adds so much to what you could do with these characters. They easily could have given us Tina Teeth and Gerald Teeth and not given them teeth. And I don't think we would have thought about it. I think it would have been like Floyd and looking in the mouth and being like,
Hmm.
"Oh, you don't have teeth." Like I don't think we would have thought twice about it. They're just these whatnot characters who came in and they served a purpose and they went away. And by allowing the Muppets to explore different types of designs and things that didn't necessarily exist in like 1979, that we can really expand what the world looks like that still feels very Muppety. That's all I can answer.
Yeah. I mean, it's just another tool in the many drawers at the Muppet Workshop.
Right. Yeah. When they
We'll
open up
open
the
a
drawer and they're
drawer.
like, here's the eyeballs and here's the mustaches and here's oh my God, there's so many teeth. Why do we have so many teeth? Most of these are real. Ugh.
Well, any final thoughts about teeth and Muppets? Or not final thoughts, because I'm sure we will still write that article someday.
Yes, I have so many thoughts about Muppet Teeth. We'll get to it. But I'm glad we got to talk about Tina and Gerald Teeth on this podcast. We really, broke those characters wide open.
Everyone understands them in their entirety. Well, thank you, Joe, for sharing all of your wisdom teeth with us. Besides Tough Pigs, is there any work of yours that you'd like the audience to find?
Yeah, you can follow me on Letterboxd at Tough Pigs Joe. I don't really do much social media beyond that. I guess I'm on Instagram at Tough Pigs Joe as well. I don't post there very often. But yeah, just find me on Tough Pigs. It's where I live.
All right, that's the final bite on this podcast. We'll see you next week with another Muppet to sink your teeth into. Bye.
Bye bye. 70 Years, 70 Muppets, More Muppets Please is a Muppet fan podcast presented by ToughPigs.com. Hosted by a myriad of people and edited by them as well. Produced by Joe Hennis. The Muppets 70 logo is used with permission by the Muppet Studio, with thanks to Danny Iglesias, Frank Reifschneider, and Lee Slaughter. Don't forget to follow ToughPigs.com on all social media platforms, and you can support us by heading to patreon.com/toughpigs or by buying merchandise at tpublic.com/toughpigs.